Good morning. Welcome to ETRAGE's webinar on optimizing network performance for efficient manufacturing tools. We're so glad you're here. As always, everyone is muted. Please use the Q&A at the top right to submit questions throughout. We'll be getting to those at the end. I highly recommend putting the phone down and away for the next 30 minutes to focus on this topic with us. Recording will be available afterwards, though, if you do get distracted on our YouTube channel. I'm Connor, and joining me today is Zach, who will be leading our demonstration. We each bring over a decade of experience in the manufacturing world. Our shared focus as an organization is on understanding our clients' business challenges and delivering tailored, effective solutions, from cloud hosting to securing intellectual property with industry-specific best standards, or meeting customer or government IT requirements. ETRAGE is here to help. At ETRAGE, our focus is on driving continuous digital thread adoption by addressing the needs of your systems, your management, and your end users. Today's agenda is all about helping you get more out of your business systems with a heavy focus on PLM. ETRAGE is a global company with over 20 years of experience helping PLM adoption extend beyond engineering and into your entire enterprise. We understand that adoption isn't a one-time event, but it's a strategic, ongoing process focused on continuous improvement and evolving over time. As PTC technology partner, ETRAGE develops innovative software and services, helping companies move forward and towards a complete and secure future in this digital age. And with that, I'll hand it over to Zach to walk you through the agenda.
Thanks, Connor. Hi, I'm Zach. I'm with ETRAGE, and I head the network and security team. The goal of this webinar is to kind of understand the relationship between network IT and your enterprise systems like PLMs. We're going to cover some of the common issues, and we're going to cover some of the common solutions, and I have a couple of case studies for us to go over. So without further ado, we'll hop in and get started. So app problems, issues with your PLM, slowdowns, delays, trouble logging in, trouble checking things in and out. A lot of these issues are often infrastructure issues. The typical problems you would have coming out of that would be your lost engineering hours, your lead times, impacts on time to market. The goal here is to understand how the PLM systems and those problems is related to your overall infrastructure. So the architecture of Windchill touches a lot of different things, from your servers, obviously, your identity management storage, your network. If one part of the overall infrastructure is slow, it can slow the entire process. Typically, this impact affects all of your users, or a whole department, or entire teams, depending on what the problem is. And we don't want these like small little microscopic delays to build up over time, causing like major slowdowns in productivity. So you obviously don't need to cover the entire list, but I have a top 10 here of some of the more common issues we see from infrastructure problems that impact, PLM systems. Some I would like to mention would be slow storage, right? You see that that's up there at the top. We find that this is the most common issue that causes like unidentified or like unnoticeable impacts to the environment. The other one that often comes up is the overscanning of security tools, like your antivirus, your EDRs, having them like manage, like trying to detect and process all of the changes within like like a PLM vault, is going to create this like weird level of overhead that seems to slow everything down. Um, Overloaded hosts and virtual machines. This is extremely common. Too many VMs on the cluster. Oversubscribed on the resources. All of this is like a major contributor to the common problems we see with PLM systems. To go over some of the ways that we can resolve this, right? You know, a good first step is to standardize and update the environment, right? Get like all known good baselines, all version incorrect, all patches applied. Uh, that can like shake out a lot of like the hard to identify problems that are just like slowing things down. The next big one is getting your storage right sized, and the network appropriately configured. Like I said, storage impacts everything that happens inside of a large file vault, and you have to make sure that it has uh, enough throughput and speed of access and low latency to keep from having like impacts to the user experience within like check in and check out, or searches, downloads, things like that. um that segues right into right sizing your actual infrastructure. um you have to have the appropriate amount of resources allocated for your servers, your VMs, and all of the specifications that are required to keep those things running smoothly. Similar to standardizing the environment, aligning across like third-party solutions as well, plugins, your Java runtimes, databases, making sure they're up to date, they're optimized. Um, all of that can have an impact as well, and that's not directly related to the app architecture itself. Setting smart exceptions, right? For trusted PLM traffic. This goes for your intrusion detection systems, your branch cache WAN connection appliances, your riverbeds, um, the EDRs and next gen AVs of the world these days, making sure that they're not continuously scanning and scanning on access like all of your vault files as things are trying to load in and out. Um, if you are chasing down problems, like one of the key things to do is to figure out how to measure properly. A lot of monitoring systems aren't designed from the out of the box to detect the problems that lead to these issues that we commonly see. So understanding how to like measure performance, get a baseline, and then demonstrate improvement after change has been made is like absolutely key to all of this. Like if you don't know that your change helped in an objective way, nobody's going to believe it actually helped. You need to like put data in front of people to show that it really did improve things and that there was an objective problem that needed improving. And with that, let's jump right into my first case study. Um, we have a large CNC producer. They had slow and unpredictable vault operations. Engineers were having issues checking in and checking out files. To make matters worse, it was an intermittent problem. Sometimes it was fine, sometimes it wasn't. Uh, Obviously, they would complain. The technology teams would say, "We don't see anything wrong." And so we were brought in to try and figure out like what was going wrong and what was happening. The issue was, as I said in the common list, was a storage problem. The performance of the storage that was the hosting in the underlying hosting of the data vault, the was way underperforming what it should have been, and we were able to simulate workloads to demonstrate that fact, and present that, and then worked with the technology team to make some changes, specifically migrating that workload to much faster storage, newer storage that was in the process of being installed. And that showed significant improvements after the fact. And users reported that all was fixed and they didn't need to do huge changes, like no change in code, no change in architecture, just move storage subsystem A to B, and everything was way better, easily 5 times as fast. Jumping into the second case study, we had a international team, spanning a couple of continents, that was getting really jittery, really poor performing, like check-ins and checkouts of files across various tunnel links. And we traced that all down and simulated workloads across those connections. Noted where the delays were and started examining configurations. We found inconsistent settings across the various paths and tunnels of this large WAN tunnel network. We standardized everything, added some exceptions for the PLM traffic, and remote check-in stabilized. Everything sped up across like all 4 global locations, and um, everybody was much happier then. And it was simple as tracing it out and testing and measuring. That's really what it boils down to, testing and measuring. So, uh, why should you listen to me? Well, besides the great examples of the 2 case studies, uh, ETRAGE is manufacturing. That's our lane. It's what we're good at. It's what we've been doing. We know it inside and out. We have decades of experience combined in our teams to understand like what's happening and how to measure it, and how things like the broader infrastructure can impact the application layer. We measure our results. That's like our key performance that we make, is being able to figure out how to measure the correct data at the correct place at the correct time. Um, and we are primarily focused on developing long-term relationships with our clients, right? Like we want to be there for you in the long haul. So the call to action I want to make is, contact us for a ETRAGE light network assessment. We're running these through the end of the year at no cost. We'll do some conversations. We'll ask about your problems, and like we'll figure out what it is and put those into a nice little results document, and we'll collaborate with you on developing an actual improvement plan, a roadmap to get through these problems, get to the other side of them. The assessment breaks down into these parts, right? We'll look at your Windchill environment, your key sites, the vault paths, the data locations, storage subsystems, whatever parts and pieces make up your environment. Uh, Generally takes about 2 weeks for a mid-sized company to kind of get through this process, with the meetings and the discussions and the measuring. At the end of it, you'll get a nice little summary. We'll have like a fixed list that's ranked by priority, and we can break that out into an action plan. The follow up on this is we'll sit down with you, and we'll talk about like what we can do to help enable getting this executed. Um, the benefits are obvious, right? Like you're having PLM problems. The we're hoping to address PLM problems. It's what we do. The contribution is beyond just solving the problem, right? Like we can help you strategize around how to maintain that system longer. Your users are happier. Um, Everything is improved, right? Like you're not seeing these delays anymore. I'll hand things back over to Connor, who has see if you guys have any questions for me.
Yeah, thanks, Zach. At this time, yeah, submit your questions. Top right corner, you'll see the Q&A. Just type those in, and we'll get to those. As we wait for those to come in, Zach, do you want to move to the next slide? Yeah, just wanted to highlight some events coming up that ETRAGE will be participating in. One is a user group in Birmingham and Atlanta. Montgomery and Atlanta, coming up in October the 8th and the 9th. More information on our website. If you'd like to get registered, please go there. We'd love to see you. Also, we have advanced assembly and modeling class coming up at the beginning of November that we are planning on running, and we'd love to get more people in. So feel free to reach out on either of those. Our next webinar is October 22nd on model check implementation for Windchill. We're very excited for. Right, I think we do have a couple questions, Zach. So if you're ready, give me a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's been difficult for our IT team navigating their new CMMC 2.0 requirements and how they will affect Windchill. Do you have experience in this area?
Yeah, absolutely. We've helped guide manufacturing companies across the line for CMMC 2.0, both level 2, level 3. We've been involved in the ever-changing requirements of the controls, and as far as the impact on Windchill, there is an impact, right? Because they're going to be like data control requirements and controls in place for PLM systems, because that's going to contain the CUI that's governed under the contract. So things like encryption at rest on the database and the vault and the files, two-factor authentication for at the web interfaces on the front ends for the PLM for the viewers, and so on and so forth. Audit logging requirements. You're going to have to siphon off your access logs and your audit logs for the database for the application. That's going to have to go into various monitoring platforms and be collected and stored as required by CMMC level 3. Those are the types of things that are going to impact PLMs specifically, and whether that be Windchill or Siemens or whatever. Like that's the overarching impact. These are very challenging things to do. The IT teams have to be like directly involved with stakeholders, and doing this stuff can have performance impacts as well. Things like getting your EDR like deployed and tuned and like all of that stuff. There's significant impact to PLM systems, and it's like non-intuitive, right? Like you think, oh, it's just there, but actually you have to get data out of it and store that to meet the compliance. Hopefully that sort of touches on the question, Connor.
I think so. Yeah, no, that was excellent. Next question. Do you work with manufacturing companies that work with third-party IT providers, but not Windchill?
Yes. Especially around the CMMC compliance, right? A lot of third parties coming in and facilitating like the requirements and the tools necessary to meet the compliance, but a lot of third party non-Windchill vendors have very like narrow scopes when it comes to like line of business applications like PLM, ERP. So we work closely with them to get the level of integration and collection that needs to happen to meet the various compliance standards. The impact of that is, these things get carried across the line faster because we have a more willingness to integrate with like non-Windchill third parties.
I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, no, that collaborative approach is always excellent, and I think this next question kind of touches on that to some extent as well. Our Windchill seems to run slow, but our IT doesn't engage. What would you recommend as a first step to get them involved?
Well, squeaky wheel, right? Like, go to IT and make sure that you demonstrate that there is a problem, um, and sort of drive them to do the measurements, right? Like my first case study was an excellent example because we were brought in because the IT team believed that there was a problem, but they didn't know how to find the problem and figure out the underlying issue. They knew that there was an issue, but they had difficulty finding it. And that's a common theme we see because, IT teams often run like monitoring platforms like, Zabbix or VSA or things like that, where they're monitoring metrics about the infrastructure, throughput, CPU utilization, RAM utilization, things like that. Um, the issue we often see, and I think this contributes to storage being a common problem, is those systems have a hard time monitoring the underlying storage infrastructure, and the underlying like network links, for your SANs and your iSCSI targets and things like that. Um, so we often get brought in to bring our expertise in like how to get to those subsystems and like get meaningful monitoring and simulate workloads. Um, so like be persistent, right? Like try and get like good sample data. Like when I say sample data, like do screen recordings of it obviously being show. Like get somebody to like actually see the problem as it's happening, sort of demonstrate that it is indeed an issue. And that can be sometimes hard because a lot of these issues are intermittent, right? It's based on like the current like level of workload going on, so like when only 5 people are using the PLM, it works fine, but then the East Coast comes online and all of a sudden there's 25, 30 people using this like single vault, and like that's when the issues happen. And because it's non-localized to the people reporting the issue, they don't know that like that's why it slowed down, if that makes sense. So like just keep pleading your case and bring good evidence that there's an issue, and that will definitely get your IT people sitting up and paying attention.
No, that's great. I'll just add too, I think ETRAGE is uniquely qualified because we do have such the IT side as a business and the engineering side. So opening up those flows of communication and being able to spoke both infrastructure and IT with companies and engineering, PLM, CAD. We have the talent
Oh,
in the
absolutely.
board.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think that's definitely one of our strong suits is being able to speak IT to IT people, speak management to management people, and speak engineer to engineering teams. And like having that broad understanding of like all three verticals is definitely a key factor in our success.
excellent. So that's it for questions. If you want to maybe jump to the next slide. So we just want to kind of give you guys the broad spectrum of some of our solutions. You'll see some names on there if you want to read through those. Most of those have webinars attached on our YouTube page at this point. Also go to our website to learn more about them. I'll just quickly highlight the ETRAGE bulk migrator. It's a tool used for migrating CAD files or documents into Windchill in an organized fashion. It's very helpful in migration projects. So if you guys are considering anything, we love to be considered. Even if it's coming from an ancient system that you've lost the resources and tools to manage, and you need to get those into Windchill, our bulk migrators an excellent solution for that. And Zach, that's about all I have. So you want to move over to the contact information. So yeah, definitely reach out, write down my email. We'd love to get in touch. If you have any interest in getting our soft audit done here before the end of the year, happy to engage. So have a great day.